Hello, new moon blessings to you, September blessings, um, autumn equinox window blessings, eclipse season blessings. So we've got a full energetically packed month for September. Not at all to say that the previous months in this whole year has not been pretty energetically packed. And it's going to continue because this is just the trajectory that we are on this planet right now. So for the new moon, I just wanted to pop on and share just a smidgen of what we talked about in the new moon meditation call last night. And the meditation that we worked with was with our cells, with the mitochondria in our cells and the power of darkness and the effect that the darkness, the dark of the moon, the new moon, has on our rejuvenation, revitalization, rebooting of our health and vitality, all the way down to our cellular structure. So we did the meditation around that, but we also just talked more about darkness and that energy of the new moon and what that new moon invites us in towards. So, and I'm not going to go into all of that, but I'm going to say a little bit of just a couple of things. I don't remember whether we talked about them or not, but I do want to say a couple of really cool notes that we did touch on, and I want to make sure I get the directions right. So when we're talking about, our connection with these planets and the impact that planets and stars and any of the celestial beings have on life on Earth and on our body, it begins to bring us into a whole next level of sacred embodiment, number one. And we know when we watch the cycles, when we watch the sun and the moon, the seasons on our planet, the way that nature changes, that there's an encodement, right? It's been encoded with specific information. And we don't always remember that we too are encoded with specific information that helps to keep us in balance and harmony. So one of the things that I mentioned were the interesting little impact that the moon cycles, the full and the new moon, has on both beehives and the honeycomb and the beehives and bees and owls. So I love this kind of information because not that I need that the proof is in the pudding, but I kind of like that it just solidifies maybe intuitive knowings that I might have or might feel for myself, and I don't usually take the time to actually research all that. I just kind of trust what I'm sensing and feeling. But so this is a little bit of information that I loved. So when we have beehives or honeycombs that are oriented towards the north and south directions, the bees have a tendency to vacate and fly out of that hive on the full moon. When it has an east-west orientation, this takes place on the new moon. So, when science reflects these literal encodements to us, we begin to, I think, really, I don't know, we can if we so desire, but for me, it's that deeper loving of the magic of life, right? The wisdom of life, and that potency that there's something much bigger than us happening. So the second thing had to do with owls. On so if I have this right, on the full moon, the owls will send out their mating calls. So I have an owl that is somewhere in one of these big trees close by, and I haven't actually tracked it. But when I saw this, I started wondering, oh, is this when I'm hearing the hooting, right? And I love it. It's like in the middle of the night, and it just is so soothing and peaceful. The woo-hoo, woo-hoo, right? So on the full moon, they send out their call. And then on the new moon is when they hum. So they have like this visceral humming sound that is connected to their gestation and then laying of the eggs. So again, when nature operates in these cycles and rhythms, when the natural habitat is undisturbed, at least enough for them to stay in their right and true alignment and activated in their encodements, so that things stay in balance and harmony. We have these same encodements. Both the plus and the negative of this as humanity is that we have multiple choices, and we have this greater freedom of will to either remain in alignment or separate from that place of wholeness, go into a place of division, begin to move into staticness or incoherence, because we're using our will to move out of the natural time. With the mechanical plane that the 3D is, we've sort of lost touch that this is even a thing, right? That being in a natural rhythm and natural flow, unless you're somebody who's naturally gravitated and oriented to the natural world. It has not been my natural orientation historically, but has grown to be so more and more over the years. So when we're being touched, right, and like hello, when our heart is being touched, if we're open to receive that by the energies of the moon cycles, we're just talking about the moons right now, then we come into automatically a relationship. When we're listening and sensing the gifts, the blessings, the guidance from the moon, from the new moon, which we are in right now. And we're on the eve of the new moon, right? But we've been in the energies for a couple days, and we're going to remain in the energies, and we are already in the eclipse season energies as well, which is a whole other topic. But the new moon's encodements for us is everything to do with connecting to the darkness, our inner darkness, our inner silence, quietude, deepening our inner listening and inner standing, being present to be revealed wisdom, things that we've maybe overlooked over the last course of the moon cycle. So I like to think of the new moon as sort of this emptying out time, right? We just begin to empty out everything that is not needed. So in ancient times and in a lot of more earth-based societies and cultures, they have a thing, and they have this even in biblical times. It's called the red tent. But most cultures that are connected to the ancient earth cycles have this similar thing. And we'll just say the red tent. The red tent consciousness is that at the time of the new moon, all of the women in the village, right, in the community, usually have their own hut. Maybe it's a log structure, maybe it's a large tent. And this allows and accentuates the fact that women in a group will menstruate at the same time. And we know that we're deeply in alignment with our deeper rhythm and flows as women when we are having our blood flow during the new moon. There is the full moon piece of this as well, but definitely during that new moon time. And part of what this ritual and tradition does is that not only are the women releasing, right? They're detoxifying their system. Everything that has not been utilized is moving out into the earth. And it's a time where women come together and bring nourishment and for one another, and nurturance and quiet time and good food and rest and sleep and dream time magic, right? When inquiries bring information from the other worlds, so to speak. And oftentimes, part of what they're doing as well as is coming together to release energetic components of their collective, of their tribe, of their community, of the people in the community. They serve as these conduits to keep the communal energetics in a healthier state by consciously pulling that energy through and releasing it on behalf as the whole. So, pretty powerful and pretty beautiful. And this isn't, I'm not like mainly focusing on women, but I guess this is where this call is going right now, or this talk. Most women, oftentimes, part of why our menstrual cycles become more painful, become, not regular, too much or too little blood flow, sporadic, is because we're out of sync with nature. Because we are too plugged in to the more masculine paradigm of too much going and doing, too much activity, too much stress in the system, that we can't actually operate within our sacred technology the ways in which we are meant to. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But again, it's that recognition that we have this encodement in us. So as we move more into embodiment, sacred embodiment, one of the most foundational, easiest entry points become working with the moon cycles and gathering and orienting your flow through your month with the moon. So for instance, we've been in the moon cycle of the new moon, right? We've been coming into that waning moon. So one of the ways that we can work with this is that as we move from the full moon, right, we become more active and there's a level of doing, right? We're moving out into the world a little bit more. We're taking our steps, we're moving in action. And then as we start to get closer to the new moon, we start to slow down. So I tend to, try as much as possible, right, to manage my life within these cycles. And usually about the week, maybe almost like, half week before we hit that 3-day mark, I'm starting to wind up anything that I can complete within the first half of the month, within that 2 weeks, so that then the closer that I get to the new moon, I've done everything that I can, and whatever I haven't been able to be in alignment with, right? I'm just trusting that flow of alignment. I shelf it. I just say, okay, we're done, because now we're going inside. We're going to empty the cup. I'm going to empty everything that's no longer needed. I'm going to really rest and digest everything that has taken place. I'm going to anchor it. I'm going to embody it. I'm going to allow myself to look and gain whatever wisdom, clarity, insight, new intentions, like refining and redefining what comes next. And, today I am here and I'm going to do one more video for tomorrow, but then I'm pretty much off. I'm done unless I'm called to do something different, because I'm feeling in my body, I'm already waning with the moon. I'm already moving into that space and that place of I need to rest. My brain needs to rest, my body needs to rest. I'm ready to sort of go inside, become more quiet, become more still, become more reflective, ground to the earth, and just be for the next 3 days or so. And it doesn't mean that we can't do anything, but we're just moving in a softer, more peaceful and harmonized flow and allowing the body to speak. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video. So then, maybe a week in, I gradually start moving, making my list. What is ready to move out? What are the seeds that I planted? What are the actions that I can start taking? And then I move into more of an active mode as we move towards that full moon. And then, at the full moon, I step back still and I reflect. What is that moon trying to illuminate to me, right? What light is shining on anything else that I need to be addressing, looking at, staying present to? But it slows down, I soften, I step back again into the feminine, which is the receptive mode, and just allow things to just fall in place for about that 48-hour period. And then, right, we start winding it down. Maybe there's still some things when the moon is still bright, there's still some activity, but once it starts getting to that half moon, it's time to start, particularly that 3/4, it's time to start winding down again. So it's using the energetics, the coding of the moon, and letting it assist us. And as we let it assist us, it's also keeping us in harmony and balance. It gives us 2 reflection points throughout the month to take a pause, right? It's that in-breath, pause, out-breath, pause. Breathe, we move, we wave, we pause, we stop for a moment. Empty out. Feel the bloom. Be receptive of everything that's happened. Humanity tends to just want to keep going, and I talked about this in the, because that's just how we're conditioned. It's not, it's not right or wrong. It is the conditioning. So unplugging and untethering from the conditioning is part of coming into a more harmonized, coherent flow. But first we have to know where we've been conditioned. Because if we don't know we're conditioned, we don't know how things can be different. Awareness, awareness, awareness. So there is that that video on the necessity of integration for our spiritual journey and for our health and our vitality and our all-round well-being in, our physical life, our spiritual life, our emotional connection to ourselves, to our soul. So the moon times are this perfect juxtaposition to just pause and to be and to listen to higher guidance if we aren't doing it along the way. Listen to inner guidance. Integrate the wisdom that we've learned. Allow ourselves to move through levels of maturation through that integration. So the invitation, if you feel called for this new moon, the darkness, is to stop. Just stop. Rest. Digest. If you can't do it all, all day because you work, and it's nice, we have a holiday tomorrow, so usually what we do when we have that time off is we want to go do more. That's an option. Or we can start listening to our encodement and expanding who we are from the connection of this plane and how the human operates on this plane only, and to expand into our larger self and say, what would this look like? What would this feel like if I just rested, found stillness, found silence, nourished myself, came home to myself, right? Bring all my energy back. It's that question on the video the other day, are you embodied? Allow yourself to come into a deeper embodiment. And as you begin to practice this, magic takes place. Miracles take place. Deeper connection and greater harmony and coherence, hence manifestation, takes place. So that's all I'm going to say. But if this calls to you, I would love to hear how you experience exploring this rhythm of the natural world and see what you learn, what you glean, how it feels. That's it. All right. Blessings.